Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to RGTV. My name is Franklin Katunda, and again, welcome to Plateau spécial sur la situation sécuritaire à l'est de la RDC. We'll be talking about the situation that is taking place in the eastern region of Congo. Rwanda is the country that is now on the map. Everybody's talking about them at the UN Security Council. Everybody's pointing a finger to them because 15 countries have just determined that Rwanda has invaded the Democratic Republic of Congo. The city of Goma went through a big series of war, and at this time we're talking about thousands of people who died in that region. And citizens around the world have been doing demonstrations. Here in the United States, there have been several demonstrations that took place in Washington. There will be one next week. In London, there was one that took place, and they have another one coming up. In Paris and Brussels, they had also demonstrations. So we see citizens standing up and try to go against what Rwanda is doing right now, invading a whole country, a whole sovereign country. At this time, we have our sister who lives here in Dallas-Fort Worth, who started up an action, a political action, where we are invited to call our congressman. It's something that we do normally for any policy that we have around the United States, anything that, that really it is so important to us. We usually call our congressmen and let them know. So in this situation, because it's a foreign policy that is very important, a lot of people are expected to call their congressmen. So we're talking about Call for Congo.
Yes.
Call for Congo, and she is right in front of me. Her name is Miriam Mulamba. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Great.
Thank you.
Well,
Yes.
I am so thrilled to have a chance to have a beautiful woman that I'm going to interview.
Thank
Because I usually don't interview a lot of women. And that's true. If you look at it clearly, you're going to see that I interview a lot of guys, but not ladies. But say I have a chance to have you today. Welcome to RGTV studio.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Now, Call for Congo. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, the initiative and the action, I like to look at it more of as a humanitarian action. And the goal of the whole action is to get the people involved with their local representatives. And the idea is we are in a system that works, but it only works if you use it.
Yes.
And so not a lot of us know about the system and how it works. And so the idea is that we have elected representatives who rely on our votes every 2 years. And so we should show them what we're expecting of them. And obviously one of them is to use our taxpayer money for the benefit of this country, but also for the greater good of the world, right?
Yes.
And we don't really see that happening when we look at the Eastern Congo. So the goal is to show Congress, like, hey, you have a population of people, whether it be diaspora, or whether it be people who sympathize with what's going on in the Eastern Congo.
Yeah.
There's a population here who care about this matter and who want to see things change.
What do you think Americans will care about what's taking place in Congo? Is that just because it's people looking at the carnage, people being killed and they don't like it? Or it's just because of them looking at the United States and say we need a great foreign policy towards that country?
I think that's a wonderful question. I do think it's loaded because so many people have different reasons of what matters. But I think what matters to most people in the world is there are international human rights that cannot be violated.
Yes.
I think we understand that. I think this country fights for that every single day. So I think people understand that plight. And so I think that's what just the general American public would empathize. But I think what's actually hidden from the American public is actually how related DRC and the USA are together. We've had a lot of ties together, whether you like it or not. We're closely tied countries. So what we do here on this side actually directly affects them. So it's important that we also have here like a civic responsibility to how we're doing things.
You know, I remember my father telling me how the uranium from Congo was used to build atomic bomb. And back then, when there was a Cold War between United States and Russia, which was the Soviet Union back then, they had to use that to kind of like, you know, earn some respect. I mean, you play with me, I hit the button, and then you're gone. And so Hiroshima and Nagasaki was part of what took place because the bomb was used, was actually put together with the uranium from Congo. So Congo developed a great relationship with the United States since the 60s, even way before that. And today, there's no reason why Americans will not be interested to know that there are people who've been dying in that country for what, 30 years now?
Yeah, 30 years. It's
30
been 30
years is a
years.
long time. Now, you said you have a goal, 10,000 calls. Explain us a little bit, how does it work?
Yeah, 10,000 calls. Well, I can explain the process.
Yes.
It's actually extremely simple. So you can go to www.congress.gov and you can find your local representative. All you need is your zip code, right? And you call them, and you'll get a list of numbers. Some of them will be from the Senate or the House of Representatives. And you're not going to get that person. You're going to get a staffer. You're going to get a staffer.
Or a voicemail.
Or a voicemail. But it's okay to leave a voicemail. I want people to understand that. So you're going to get a staffer who's probably an intern. And their job is to take note of what agenda items are coming in to that congressman or that congresswoman. So what I'm urging people to do is actually really, these are our friends, right? And we want to tell our friends what's going on. So I actually called the representative that was on the African subcommittee that's in Congress.
Oh, good.
I called him because they put out a statement, and I said
subcommittee on foreign relations.
On foreign relations, but specifically in Africa. So that's something you can easily look on. I know a lot of us use AI. You can just look ChatGPT. Hey, who's on the sub-African committee? And you could call them. And I said, hey, you know what? I'm actually not in your district, but I'm a little disappointed in the statement that was put out. We were hoping that you guys would align more with what the Madam Foreign Minister of Congo had asked for the UN Security Council, and we didn't see that. So just explaining that. The reality is they're going to get a lot, the idea is that they get a lot of calls. These are interns, but what they do is they're passing that agenda item off to their congressman and their congresswoman. And when they see a flood of one topic, it rings a bell to them.
Yes.
The most important one is that, oh, wait, I need these people for my votes. And a lot of people are calling me. I have to pay attention to this.
Now, you just spoke about Madam, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Her name is Therese Wagner. I would like our audience to kind of find out who she is. She is speaking during an interview that she did with Voice of America. My friend and my friend journalist from Washington, D.C., Roger Muntu, did a great interview with her. And she's speaking here about how all the 15 members of the UN Security Council recognized that Rwandan soldiers were actually in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The reason why she's explaining that is because Rwanda is still denying that his soldiers are not part of what's happening in Congo. They're still trying to make us understand that it's only the M23 rebels that actually crossed the border, which is not true because the 15 members of the UN Security Council are talking about it. The Congolese citizens who live in the region are talking about it. Let's just watch that video and we'll get back.
you guys have, or what role, I should say, should they be playing in resolving this crisis? Do you feel like they let you guys down, your country down, or?
On the contrary, what we are witnessing are more and more voices speaking out against this violation of a territorial integrity. When we listen to what was said in the Security Council, there was absolutely no debate about who is in the right and who is in the wrong. Rwanda is extremely isolated. Its foreign support is compromised by this very belligerent posture that it has opted to choose. I want to also remind us that at the last Security Council meeting, other countries that are not members of the Security Council spoke up and asked to take the floor on this situation, and none of them sided with Rwanda. Senegal was there, Uruguay was there, Guatemala was there, South Africa was there, Burundi was there, Zimbabwe was there, and all speaking out against this dramatic situation unfolding, but also this disrespect that Rwanda has been displaying in the past weeks, months, years in regards to all that we hold holy as members of the United Nations. So no, the DRC is not isolated. Rwanda is isolated in its folly to drive the country and the whole region and to plunge us all into chaos. Rwanda is isolated right now. It is not the DRC.
Oh, so as you can see, Madam Therese Wagner, she's very, very eloquent. She speaks both English and French, which is a very good thing because most of our foreign affairs ministers in the past only spoke French. And in this world that really evolving, you want to use English as a language of communication so you can reach out to more people. And she's been firm about what she believes in, strong diplomat, very persuasive person. She knows what she's talking about. And I guess we're going to be in a long fight having her in Washington and New York doing what she's doing. A little bit of the news that I would like to share with you, ladies and gentlemen, is the president of South Africa is having a very, very bad showdown with the president of Rwanda. They don't get along. And obviously the president of Rwanda is denying the fact that his militaries have invaded the Congo. And South Africa had provided some soldiers who are in Congo to help and to push back on these invaders. And so at this point, there is now a back and forth between the president of Rwanda and then the president of South Africa. And South Africa is promising to give more help and more military and equipments to the Democratic Republic of Congo to help them in this fight. Meanwhile, the president of the United States was at the White House and he was asked a question about the Congo because there was negotiation that been taking place in Angola, and President Lorenzo has been the one who's helping those two countries to go to negotiations. And so at this point, we have that ongoing, and the president of the United States, President Trump, during a unrelated matter, they were talking about the crash that happened in Washington, D.C. A journalist asked him a question what he knows or what he can comment about what was taking place in Congo. I want you to watch this video. It's a very short one, and you will see a quick reply from President Trump about the situation in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where we are condemning Rwanda for invading its neighbor.
Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. The situation in the Democratic Republic of the Congo is getting worse, even though President John Lorenzo has been mediating the conflict between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of the Congo because he wants to bring peace and stability. The situation is really bad right now. I want to hear from Ms. President if you have any plan in the future to bring peace in the
Well,
Democratic
you're asking me a
Republic
question
of the
about
Congo.
Rwanda, and it is a very serious problem. I agree, but I don't think it's appropriate right now to talk about it. But it is a very serious problem.
So we're still waiting for what the United States president will say. It's very, very, very valuable because the reason why we say that is South Africa, with President Cyril Ramaphosa, is part of the BRICS, which is the economic alliance between Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. So that is an economic alliance that is now facing the NATO, including the European Union, United States, and Canada. So there is now two major powers in the world. It's not Russia alone. It's Russia with China and the other countries that are named facing the NATO. So there's a big deal going on, and the reason why I'm bringing this up when I'm talking about Congo is because there's so much minerals in Congo that is they both need to put their hands on, and so they're fighting. They're looking for what gonna happen, who's gonna benefit what. And Congo in that particular region has oil, they have natural gas, they have gold, they have the tin, tantalum, and tungsten. These are rare minerals that we call cobalt. And I'm sorry, they're called coltan. And coltan is used in so many things, including electrical vehicle. Tesla use it with Elon Musk. They use them with the EV, the electrical battery. They use them in the lithium battery. All kind of things that they making here, cell phones, electrical components for aircrafts, all kind of things that they use in America in today's world, in today's developed world, are coming from Congo. And it's exactly coming from that region we're talking about, the Kivu in the Eastern Congo. So, ladies and gentlemen, this war is going far. But in the meantime, I just don't want to talk about minerals only. I want to talk about the humanitarian side of it. Goma, the other city of Sake, and Rubavu, they've been cut off from the world because the rebels went around and blocked the cities, blocked the roads, and people are living in there with no drinking water, with no electricity. Hospitals are filled up with people, injured folks, and folks, some of them who passed away. It is just a mess. Now, I know I'm saying this not to break your heart. You already seen those images because a lot of people in the regular media, they didn't see it, but you had a chance to see these things. And that's the reason why you stood up and say, I want to do this. You look like a young fella to get involved, right? Is this your first time doing this?
Well, on this scale, absolutely yes. I would like to consider myself just a regular citizen, but also part of the diaspora. So I've always tried to connect with my roots, and I'm certainly not the only one. I think there's a movement across a lot of African diasporas of let's look back at our roots. We can have the best of both worlds. And what comes with the nice side of that is you also get to understand the challenges. And then with that, you understand that, okay, there is a level of responsibility, here.
So the humanitarian side is what really touches here. The way the world has been watching President Kagame continually sending militaries and rebels into the other side, and he doesn't matter how many people they're killing, he just keep on looking the other way. And the United States, the UN, the European Union, they're all sitting quiet and watching. Now the difference is now they're talking. Now they stand up and condemn what is taking place, and we like that. And so we believe what you're doing here will bring more awareness. And I see you have an hashtag. How do you call that again?
Yes, Call for Congo. That's the hashtag, and the idea is that with social media, the more you use a hashtag, the more visibility it gets.
There you go.
And so that's the point of having the hashtag. But what I want people to really take away from this is that social media is a wonderful, wonderful tool, but it can only do so much. After that, you need to engage with your local representatives. That is the next step. I think.
So after doing the march, demonstration,
march, the demonstration, the social media posts, all of those things are good.
Yeah.
But we have to be prone to action. So what is the next thing that we do after that? We call our local representatives.
Yes.
Can you guarantee an outcome off of that? Absolutely not. That's not how life works. But we can know that we did our part and that we took it another step further.
Yes, yes. Great. So, ladies and gentlemen, you go to the website www.congress.gov/members. It will give you a whole list. You have to just put in your zip code. It'll be able to get you the representative in your area, your senator, and then you can give them a call. Now, what they explained here is you have 2 calls to action. So the first one is you call.
Yes.
And can you explain us about the second one?
Absolutely. So the first thing you want to do is you yourself need to call, right? And then the idea is that I'm sure that you have 5 people in your life at least who care about you and care about what you're going through. Close friends. Call them up. I just texted my girlfriends. We're in a chat. I said, hey, can you call your local representatives on what's happening here?
Yes.
And they did it, right? So the idea is that it's a chain reaction.
Do they have to read a script? Something about the Congo? Is that just that one phrase I see here, demand sanctions?
So the idea is that we're repeating what the Madam Foreign Minister of Congo has already asked.
Oh, I love that. Madam Therese.
Yes, Madam Therese has, and the whole team has already done the work for us, right?
Yeah.
And she's laid out 5 points. I just pointed out 2 of them, with one of them being sanctions on those who are destabilizing that region. But she's laid out what we can do to help bring peace, because at the end of the day, it's all about the humanity side of it. But like I said, she's laid it out. Call your local representatives, and then after that, get your community around you to do the same exact thing.
Okay, so when you go, we get your community, you can get at least 5 people. And if you get 5 people, ask them to call their representative, and guess what? It's a multiplication, because then from 5 people, you already have guaranteed 5 calls and more.
Exactly,
exactly. And ladies and gentlemen, when you call, it's simple. You demand sanctions on Rwanda. Sanction on Rwanda and M23 for destabilizing Eastern Congo. So just because they've done that, you are asking for punishment. You're asking the representative in Congress to go up there and come up with a resolution that they can bring to the president's desk.
Yes.
And because that's how democracy works in America. If they don't do that, the president will go with whatever the State Department tells him to do. But the good thing is the Secretary of State, the current Secretary of State, used to be, Marco Rubio, used to be a member of the Senate, the Foreign Relations Senate Committee. So he knows about Congo.
Absolutely.
He played a big role in so many resolutions they've done in the past. So it's not like he doesn't know what's going on. It's not like Rwanda will get in his face and lie about something. He knows everything that has been taking place. And now what I like is with the dynamic of a new president who's a Republican replacing a Democratic president, there is a chance that they will listen and take things differently.
Absolutely.
And try to go with a different approach.
And if I can add something
Yes.
To that note, we've actually gone through this process before. There was a time where Goma actually fell in 2012.
Yeah.
And during the Obama administration, we actually threatened sanctions on M23. So we actually did it, you know?
And it worked.
And it worked.
And it
worked.
M23 had to withdraw.
And they withdrew.
Yep.
So we know that action can help. Again, it's less about the minerals, it's more about the people who are suffering. But I want people to understand that it can actually work. We can play our part towards that. So we've seen that action happen and we've seen it work.
2021.
So we've seen it work. We know that history is the best teacher that we have. So.
Wow, that's great. That's great. So I see you wrote something in. You say, every call multiplies, every voice matters. Let's flood Congress with action.
Yes.
Love it. Love it. So ladies and gentlemen, do not forget www.congress.gov/members. You go in there, You can put your zip code, type it in, and it will tell you your representative's name. We don't have to know them, but as soon as you go in there, it will give you, by the way, it will give you their name, and it will give you their office and the office phone number, and then you call. You might not be able to talk to the person directly, but you may talk to the staff member,
Yes.
or you may leave a voicemail. Leave a voicemail.
Yeah.
Do not just go off the call without doing anything. You can leave a voicemail and then they will get back to you. It's a movement that is actually taking place in this neighborhood of Dallas and here in the state of Texas. But believe me, I believe it's going to go all over the United States and people will just embrace it and do it. But thank you so much for doing what you're doing. For being a young person, getting up there and having that to your heart to help your fellow country people and just help, just being out there to make a difference. Do you have anything else you want to share with the people who are watching you now?
One thing I would like to say is thank you to all the elders for really setting a great example for us, especially the ones who were born here and raised here. And you all set a great example of what it means to always give back and think of your people. I called the likes of yourself and a lot of different leaders, and I asked, can you help with this? Can you help push this? Yes. And I didn't get any hesitation. I didn't get anything like that. Everyone was willing to jump in and help.
You? Oh,
and y'all have really set that example for us. So I really thank you all for setting that example for us and giving us the path to follow. So, yep.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. You know, I remember doing this call for action 20 years ago in Boston when there was a war in Congo. Things were happening there. And then we used to march in Washington to protest. And then at the same time, we would make calls like this to our congressman. And it's good to use your citizenry and do something to make a difference.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are following this thing, and I'm counting on you. If you can do it, it'll be great. Do it especially to just honor this initiative, but number two, to really look at the humanitarian side of it. Young men are dying. I saw a video just earlier today how 3 soldiers were sitting in a truck, and they did a video selfie to themselves, and they said, "Mom, Dad, this is probably the last selfie we're doing. We're here trapped. The rebels on one side, the Rwandans are on the other side. We don't know if we're gonna survive this time. But if we passed away, we've done it for the country." That video is still in my mind. It's still in my memory right now. I watched it last night and I couldn't sleep. These are young folks. They could be my children.
Biso basoda gouvernement tokeleli esika kokima maele esili biso F23 kotiti na Goma. Toza bana bato malgré tout makambo osali osepeli, mais toza na bafamille bamama bana posa na biso, mais tout se paye ici bas. Nzamba ofuta bino na okosali ya mokili yango, mais bondima kokufa mpona ekolo lokola mpe tokufi mpona ekolo yango esa eloko te. Je pense que nde bomoni biso boye toza déjà bavictime, toza deya bibembe. F23 déjà ningi biso. Bon, merci, choix eza te tokosala nini, mais mokonzi mboka makambo ozomona yango te, pas de choix, tokosala nini. Napesi mbote na bamama mama na ngai na Kinshasa, papa baleki na ngai bomona ngai komona suka parce que komona ngai lisusu te, bomona ngai komona suka vraiment yango.
Thank you for all of you. I know you're going to get up there and do this. You're going to call your congressmen, you're going to call your senators, and you're going to speak to them. You're going to tell them to impose sanction on Rwanda and impose sanction on the M23. So Rwanda can stop and withdraw all their troops from the Democratic Republic of Congo. It doesn't matter who's at the White House. It doesn't matter who is speaking to the president. But if you guys get up there and call Congress, democracy will work. And that foreign policy will change for the betterment of the citizen of the world. Thank you for watching me. My name is Franklin Katunda, and you are here on RGTV.